it appears that the move for Mohammed Kudus is taking shape now. It appears that there is some momentum in this. And what's quite interesting now is that reports are suggesting that the player is very keen to come to West Ham. This is a little bit of excitement that we need, isn't it? Especially on the back of losing Lucas Paqueta. I'm not saying we've lost him because we haven't lost him yet, but it appears that that's the way this is going, that Paqueta will be departing for Manchester City. You kind of understand it. You can't blame the player. Can't blame Man City. He's a brilliant player, isn't he? We can see what a talent he is. It's gutting for West Ham in a sense, but at the same time, I don't think fans are going to be that upset, because I think if we can then go and find a really good replacement and go and invest it elsewhere in the squad, what's the problem? This is what we want to be doing as a football club. We want to be growing. Kudus is obviously a very highly rated player. Ajax as well. So we've just had a deal with them, haven't we, for Edson Alvarez. So I think that works well in our favour as well. The fact we've just had a deal, and I suppose it appeared that there was very good relations between the clubs, because that's what we heard. Because if you remember, Ajax how would you call it? Hijacked our move for Carlos Borges from Manchester City. It was appearing that was, that is what happened. It appeared, though, that the player was going to come to West Ham, terms were agreed, everything was all happened, and they come in and swooped. So I actually thought that when we were going to go in for Edson Alvarez, there was going to be friction there and a bit of a relationship breakdown, possibly because of West Ham's probably frustration in the move. But absolutely not the case at all. In fact, it apparently appears, from what we understand it from ex-WHU employee, that relations are very good and they're going very well, and talks were very positive. And obviously we concluded a deal for Alvarez. He's now a West Ham player and most likely to make his debut this Sunday against Chelsea. But what's very exciting now is obviously we're now linked with Kudus, and my word, this looks a seriously exciting player. I mean, from what I've seen of him, very quick, skillful, got a great eye for goal, and just looks exactly what we need. I mean, someone that you just think, okay, if we're losing Paqueta, we're losing that burst of energy and burst of creativity and making something happen, then you've got someone straight away there. And dare I say it, the price appears to be reasonable, very reasonable. So we had an update from ex-WHU employee saying Kudus still remains a top target for West Ham to replace Paqueta, and talks will continue, and we will actually now try and get a second summer deal with Ajax over the line. I think this is going to happen. I really do. You get the sense, don't you, with certain transfers, you get that feeling of certain ones that probably will happen, certain ones that no. Like, for instance, we're linked with Brennan Johnson. I don't see that. I don't see it. The reason I'm not saying it won't happen, but you just get the feeling that he's so highly rated. We're going to have to spend a lot of money to get him. And I don't know. It just feels like that is an unlikely one. We'd have to work very hard at it. I don't think there are deals that you're going to come in and just get them like that. Kudus feels different. Feels like the player's keen. That's what I like about it. The player's up for joining. I think it helps that the fact we've signed Alvarez. I really do. I like the fact that we've signed his former teammate, because no doubt they'll be in contact. No doubt he'll be explaining the project. Alvarez was certainly very keen to join. Alvarez had a pick of big clubs. Don't forget, Chelsea were keen on him. Borussia Dortmund were keen on him. So he's decided to come to West Ham. He's come to London. I mean, that's a big rubber stamp, and that's something that can hopefully entice Kudus. It does appear that something's happening here with this deal. Apparently, that what we're now doing at the moment is talking to the player about the project, what we want him to be doing, and stuff like that. But the reports are that the player is very keen to come to West Ham. Now, what are we thinking about this then? Because from what I've seen of Kudus, he looks a player that I think West Ham should be absolutely going for. A really, really top draw talent. I love the fact he's so quick and his pace and not that on the ball as well, not just off the running for the ball, but with it, he carries the ball so well and very skillful. And I think we could be in for a real, a bag and a good deal here, because we're not talking ridiculous money. This summer has been a real strange one because we've lost Declan Rice, Gianluca Scamacca, and now likely to lose Lucas Paqueta. Now, on the face of that, you go, oh my God, if someone told me that a year ago, I would have been, I would never have believed it. I went, there's no way West Ham would entertain this, never in a million years. But I'm actually not that bad about it. I'm not that put off by it. One, because Declan Rice was already going. Declan Rice was always, we knew that. It was never a shock. It wasn't as if we come to the end of the season and suddenly there's talk about him leaving. We've known for 2 years he was leaving this summer. So that was no surprise. And the fact is we've got £105 million for him. Off he goes. Let's move on. And I think I think at the moment, we brought in his replacement, Edson Alvarez. We've brought in James Ward-Prowse. We're looking at others. Gianluca Scamacca, people will know my views on him. I know fans, I've had some criticism about it. I stand by my point. He's an exceptionally talented player. I'm gutted it hasn't worked out for West Ham, but he didn't fit the bill. I'm not just saying that in terms of his system. His attitude was never right for me. He never looked happy. He never looked content. He never looked like he was really part of the project. I mean, and he was injured. Although it's sad to see him go, I'm not that bothered. You know what I mean? I wasn't like I sat there and thought, oh my God, we lost an absolute time. I mean, don't know that he'll do really well. I'm so sure that Scamacca will go on to do it very well wherever he goes. Lucas Paqueta hurts. I will be honest, and the reason being because I've been so insane to so many. I'm sure you have to your other fellow fans, football fans. Oh, we're in for a season. Oh, you wait to see Paqueta this season. He's going to be a monster. I thought he was going to be tearing up for West Ham this season. If I could choose it, if I could pick the way I want this to go, I wish we could do a deal with City that they'd have him next summer. Say, look, you can get someone else in there, but next summer you can have Paqueta. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think City are going to push the boat out and get him. And I don't blame Paqueta whatsoever. In fact, Paqueta's gone up in my estimations of how he's dealt with this. He's been absolutely loving to West Ham. His social media post is always about West Ham. His wife's even put up a nice post. And not only that, he then goes to Bournemouth, plays really well, puts in a good shift, works hard, gets stuck in. I mean, he's got Man City move around the corner. And he knows it. I mean, he could easily have just said, no, I ain't planning that. Do you think I'm going to bloody risk break my ankle or whatever in a game like this? But no, he rolled his sleeves up and he got stuck in, and fair play to him. Fair play to him. And I don't get the feeling he wants to leave West Ham. Do you know what I mean? I don't get that feeling from him that he's sick and tired. I think he's all right. I think he'd happily stick around. But it's Man City, isn't it? You can't blame him. And it will be painful. But I'll tell you what, if West Ham can come out of this and utilise this money that we've got from these players in the right way, which, let's be honest, it's starting to shape up that we might be. We're talking about here Manchester City, players, Harwood Bellis, we talked about in the previous video. We're talking about Cole Palmer, which I'm really excited about. But then you're looking at Kudus and thinking, wow, do you know what? West Ham could have a serious, exciting lineup. And the fact is we're now looking at strikers as well. I don't know. Do you know what? It's gone from an optimistic summer, beginning of the summer, and then became quite bleak, wasn't it? We had that period where it was looking like things were falling off. And I don't get me wrong, there's still work to be done. But you know what? West Ham could come away from this transfer window, although being a bit of a crazy one, in a far better shape than when we came into it.